Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
Well, we all know about horse girls, all right?
We all know about them.
Everyone knows or knows about a horse girl. Do you know any horse girls?
In my personal life?
Yeah, in your personal life.
Andy went to Mount Holyoke, which I joke is 50% radical feminists and 50% horse girls.
Okay, so you definitely fly in that circle.
I know. Yeah, I know. And for people, the audience who might not know, we're not talking about centaurs.
No.
We're talking about a certain subsection of women who seem to be obsessed with horses.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah, and the interesting part to me is that it's a lifelong obsession. You don't stop. It doesn't seem like horse girls stop being horse girls. Like you grow up and you continue to be a horse girl. And I'm wondering, my thought for this week. I'm wondering, is there a male equivalent of a horse girl where you're into something so fixatedly as a child and you don't grow out of it? Because I'm saying, like, I was a dinosaur kid. I still have a passing interest in dinosaurs, and I think they're pretty neat. But I'm not like out here spending all my free time trying to do paleontology projects.
Yeah, I think that is the major difference between horse girls and everybody else is that other people go into the full career path of this, whereas they stay perpetually. It is a hobby, but it's a fucking expensive hobby.
It's a lifestyle of a hobby.
It's a lifestyle. And going with your point, I do know a horse girl, which is Annie's aunt is a horse girl. In her middle ages, like
it still counts. Horse girl is more of a title than it is an actual real descriptor. Maybe,
but that goes with your point that they don't seem to get out of it.
Yeah, maybe the male equivalent is guys who are really into like their cars and modding their cars. Is that a comp? Like you start off as a kid, you're into cars, and then you grow up, you get your first car. You're really spending a lot of time around cars. You're tinkering. You're always thinking about cars. Is that the same?
But you don't own a car until you're 16. Like earliest, right? Like you could be around cars and stuff, or you could ride horses earlier than that.
You could try to get really into like go-karting as a kid, but that's pretty much an extreme. That's an extreme character type. That's not like an archetype.
I've never seen a go-kart guy.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely been go-karting before, and there have been like kids at the place who are like absolutely ripping it. But I mean, that's like going to a stable and being like, yeah, there are a lot of kids here riding horses. It's like, yeah, dude, you're at a stable. Like,
yeah. You know? I think this is a difference between the sexes where I feel like there's actually a lot of things that are in the same nerd realm. Yeah. It's like something that people rightfully make fun of me for is my interest in Warhammer 40K. That is totally a type of dude, but that's like a different level of weird where it's nerdy weird.
You don't get into that as a child. That's not something you get into as a child. Mostly because that requires a lot of time, steady hands, an incredible amount of focus.
Yes, to paint all those models.
None of which children have.
That's another one of those.
And money. You gotta have money to do that.
That is like 5 different aspects of the hobby you could be into. Right. But like, there's like other nerd things that I'm like computer repair, like cars. You're probably not getting in until you're later.
Right.
I feel like guys have a lot of, but like women have horse girls, and that's kind of it.
It's like kids that are really into it would be really weird if a child was like super into construction vehicles and then they grew up and like they just had an amateur enthusiasm about construction vehicles and talked about them all the time and would like go like spectate construction sites and be like, this is my whole personality.
Is it the same kind of arc, I wonder, as per people who think they're going to be professional sports players? Like somebody who thinks they're going to be into basketball, but then they never hit it because they're not that good. But then they will continue going. But I don't know if that's necessarily mirrored.
But I don't know. A lot of times I feel like that. Aspect. I also think that a lot of times that situation is parental pressure. Like I've seen that situation, and it's like their parents are like really pushing them to be a part of this. So it's like the kid is into it, but they're only into it because their parents are like, we're driving you to practice like every single weekend and you're going to go do it. Like at that point, the kid doesn't have a choice.
It's one of those things because I feel like every example is missing one or multiple elements that make a horse girl,
right?
One of which is the undying love of horses, no matter what.
The other thing about a sports fascination as a child is like, at least it's social. Like you're getting out there, you're with a team. Horse girls, they don't care
hanging out with the horses.
They don't care about people. They don't care about people anymore. They care about the horses.
Horse girls are, from my time at Mount Holyoke and just like being around them, are kind of awkward. Are kind of they're the opposite end of the like, oh hi. I remember two of them like came into the hallway while I was just like out there, and they just started chatting, and they're just like, did you do the essay? Oh yeah, I was working on that, and it's very like they're just very sweet and normal people. And then it comes to horses, and then they go, let me tell you about the Kentucky Derby 2012. It was that. It was the best of times.
I don't know that they're into the Kentucky Derby. I don't know.
I don't think I said that I was not confident. I think Kentucky Derby is mostly for people who love big hats.
I think people like gambling like the Kentucky Derby.
That's also true.
My closing thought about this is, humans have been domesticating horses for tens or hundreds of thousands of years. It has been a long road, which makes me think that basically horse girls have existed for as long as humans have.
That's a very interesting thought.
Because because when you say horse girl, you and I grew up in very different circumstances and very different social groups and not near each other. But we both know what a horse girl is. And so I think it's just culturally agreed that horse girls have been here. Everyone knows what they are. They have been here. They are a solid social, like they have existed in a social construct.
Is that a difference between men and women? Because I've looked into like a lot of, because we're getting into a lot of things of like pay divide and like different occupations people get into based on the gender. Because like the prevailing thought is that women go into more social work, nursing, teaching. Men go into more like math and engineers and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't know if that's necessarily true or if that is also like, if this is another part of that, of like women just love building a connection to a giant animal that they can ride every once in a while. Like that's like, is that I don't, because like there aren't horsemen.
It does raise the question
cavalry,
for me. I think. Are there sub-Saharan African elephant girls? Like, I don't know.
Hey, I could be an elephant girl.
Are there giraffe girls? I don't know.
This is it's just horse girls. Yeah, it was interesting thought. I feel like there's also reading girls. That's another subsection of girls.
Well, but
there's a bunch of subsections, but horse girls are so specific.
I mean, reading is like everybody reads. That's more normalized. You know, anybody can read.
Women read more than men. I think that's on. I think even just from
Are
the
you
like
calling
averages.
me dumb?
Yeah, even by the expression or the impression that you did. But you know what? There are horses clopping everywhere around Segment City because there are those horse police officers, and I don't know
women.
if they're effective. Actually, I feel like that's pretty 50-50. I think about 50, all the time.
Do you think that it's like you get into being a police officer and then you get assigned a horse, or do you think you get into police work because you're like, I gotta take care of those horses?
Like we're still in medieval times where you bring your own horse to be a cavalryman.
It's a buddy cop where one of them is a horse and he doesn't play by the rules. He's a maverick.
I want to be a horse cop, but I don't have any horses. Good thing your two best friends are here, and we got a horse costume to help you out. Yeah. Well, Segment City, and it's also full of horse shit, because I think there should be a salary position that follows people with shovels, because the horses do shit, and I do wonder what happens to those horse cops. Do they dismount and they have a big bag like it's a dog?
Yeah, my fiance did have an incredible moment one time where we were going for a walk, and we were in a park where they had horses going around, like people were riding their horses or whatever, and she goes, it's crazy that like they have people follow around horse riders and spread all that grass on top of the horse poop whenever they poop. I was like, what?
No.
What?
What does that mean?
The implication being she didn't understand that like the horse poop was full of grass because the horses were eating grass.
Yeah, they're just eating hay.
Hay. I had to do a hard double take on that.
I watched a clip of somebody where they were playing a game that I've played before where you like put down cards, and if you match like the same like card suit almost of the card, then you have to like name something from the other person's card, and it was mammals, and somebody said dog, and the other person said dogs aren't mammals, and they go, what are you talking about? Did you think they're reptiles? Yeah, and then they went, well, mammals are dolphins and whales and stuff, and the other one, dogs are trick question, and everyone was like, no, the whales are the trick question. What are you talking about? But like, I think that's one of those parts where it's like somebody in their mind somewhere
they had just thought it over in a weird way. Yeah,
they thought it over, or they just never because that example I gave, I think the person just like was really internalized whales and dolphins are mammals, and then never thought about mammals ever again. Like to think about like everything else that's mammals.
They locked in a fact in their head, and it wasn't right.
It was. I mean, dolphins and whales.
They are,
mammals,
but it's not. That's a small subsection of the larger mammal picture.
Yes. And didn't know anything. So this is, I don't think your fiance has a big poop encyclopedia in her head, like going at the best of times. But I think this is her just kind of going, having an assumption as a child and going, that's just how it goes.
I never fact checked that, did I?
But let's introduce ourselves. My name is Will Kane, and Harry Potter, the Forbidden Forest is only meant for the centaurs. Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, what do you think you're doing? And I'm Theo Sapakos, and I'm following around the centaurs, and I'm spreading hay over their poop, because somebody's got to do it.
You got to make it smell nice. Now I'm starting to think of where she thought that was a thing that somebody would do. Of like
whose job was that? What do you call that person?
Why are they doing this? And this is a podcast in which Theo and I dumpster dive our way through the internet. We get those good comedy morsels for you, and we package them into segments, like our first segment of the day, which is Will Asks. And this is, I don't know if I've asked this on the podcast before, so please interrupt me if I have. If you could go to a place from your past, like if it's gone and doesn't exist anymore, like a building or like some part of like, I had a lovely day in this field. I wish I could go back to that field. What place would you choose to visit and why?
I don't think you've specifically asked this question. We have talked about it in the context of re-walking through spaces in your mind. We have talked about that before. But
I don't know if that was a private conversation or if that was on the podcast, though.
Yeah, I remember having that conversation with you, but maybe it wasn't on podcast. But you're saying if I could go back to a specific moment and are you saying...
That or... I was thinking it more of in a space. Because I have a very specific... Right.
So you're not saying like, oh, I'd love to go back and rewatch that Celtics game I was at last week. Like, you're not saying
I want to go back to my bat mitzvah. You know,
you're just saying like a physical space and re-experiencing it.
That it could exist or it could not exist anymore. But like, if you could go and visit there again, where would you go?
Yeah, I would love to visit my childhood bedroom because I remember how many, like, I remember where I kept toys in my room. And I think that it would really be a trip for your sense of smell because your sense of smell is so tied deeply to your memory. I think that would be like a wild, nostalgia trip for your whole brain because you are in that space that was so familiar. You know, it's like at some point you walk out of your childhood bedroom for the last time and it's unremarkable. And then it's not there anymore. And it would be cool to go back and just be there, you know?
That's very interesting. Did you move out of your childhood bedroom or like that house when you were young?
I went to boarding school, so I moved out when I would have been went to high school. So it would have been just after, like 10th grade would have been sort of the last time I really spent time in that room.
Because I had a similar thought, but I didn't want to go back to my childhood house because we left it like when I was already basically an adult. I forget if I was in college or if it was after college. I think it was after college.
Right.
And so I was like, we were packing everything up and I knew every single board. I knew every single piece of that house.
Right.
And so
you spent so much time there. Yeah.
I can revisit that anytime. Like we talked about, I could go there like in a snap. I know every single part because I was also a stay-at-home kid. I just was home like World of Warcraft or whatever. The place I would choose is the old high school that I went to because they tore it down while I was there.
Interesting.
And I have memories of both going there as a student, and also that's where my summer camp was. So I have like double, but
double
it was
memories
like
there.
Yeah, because I remember all the classrooms, and they would just push all the like desks and stuff to the side, so it was just like a border, and you would just like sit on the desks, like whoever could get a seat on the desk, and then you put your feet on the chair and stuff. You were a cool kid.
You were a
got
cool
a spot.
guy. That was what everybody was doing.
We're gonna go play kick the can, and we're gonna have lunch, and you're gonna be in the dirt. You're gonna be in the fucking. I remember there's like a little courtyard area, and then you would just like sit there in the fucking dusty dirt, and you would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I remember that so distinctly.
And that was life. That was your whole life.
And that was life. But I do wish I could, because like I even asked my brother, like, hey, what were the names of the wings? Because there was A wing, B wing, and S wing, and they had different subjects in them. And I was like, I forget which one was where.
When you do really well on your math test, and they send you to the S ring, S wing, because you got the S rank. Like, wow, I really did well.
I think S wing was science and math. If I could check it again, but they like broke it up that way, and so I like
A wing was for the dum dums because it was the alphabet. Go back to learning your alphabet wing.
But yeah, I think that's what I would go, because like most of the other places that I feel nostalgia for, like my old neighborhood and things like that, it's like I could go there whenever in my mind. Like
yeah, sure.
But like there's some places, maybe I would like to see how my house was now. Like if they renovated my old childhood.
That's always a trip. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
If you go back to a space where you used to spend so much time, but it's changed. It's also similar to like when we stroll around during our college campus, right? And some things have changed. It's largely the same, but it's also funny being there and being like, I'm now almost 6 or 7 years removed, and everybody here feels so much younger. And I didn't feel that when I was there, but it's like, it's very stark coming back and being like, I no longer belong. Like very clearly, I no longer belong.
I enjoy that energy though, because it's something that I have a very good ability to move past certain things. Because like that's a nice thing that you can get. It's a luxury to be able to have a capstone at the end of an experience and be like, and now I'm done.
Now I'm done.
I don't have to think about that. And that's how I felt about college and like my childhood home, because there's like a whole wind up to it.
Right.
But you know what we're winding up to? Your first segment.
My first segment. And my first segment comes to us from the takeout.com, back and stronger than ever. I'm just kidding. They're kind of bullshit now. They're not very good, but we're still getting our jollies.
Okay, that's good.
So we have 2 articles from them today. The first one, pretty good. The second one, not very good. We'll start with the pretty good one though. The first one is entitled, and it's a very good question, why hasn't America looked internationally for better sauce packets? This is something we've talked about on the show. We hate condiment packets in their current form in the United States, and other places are doing it better.
Yes. Because one, there's a lot of different flavors. I like that they're expanding stuff. They keep throwing stuff in my delivery. Stop giving me 10 billion packets of ketchup. I just mean
the literal form factor of a ketchup packet sucks. Yeah, I don't like it.
Does. The base level sucks ass. They did add like that ketchup that looks kind of like the bottle, that it has kind of plasticky. That's a step up. That's something better. It's still kind of meh.
Yeah. So here's the article. If you've ever dealt with the unpredictability of traditional sauce packets, then you're familiar with the messes they can create. 100%. You've opened this thing even a slightly wrong way. No, it's a disaster. The sticky fingers, ketchup-splattered shirts, and misapplications of mustard, missing its mark and landing squarely on the bun instead of the intended hot dog, are all something we've come to accept. But in other countries, they're evolving while the U.S. gets left behind. Perhaps we've rested on our laurels thinking condiment packets aren't a frontier worth conquering. Well, that sentiment wasn't echoed in Japan, where companies have developed innovative, easy-to-use sauce packets inspired by Sanford Redmond's dispenser pack design. Interestingly, Redmond, an American inventor, created the Easy Squeeze dispenser pack decades ago. His creation offered a user-friendly solution that has been widely adopted in Japan, with packets that dispense smoothly and don't require foil layers.
Ooh,
this is proof that streamlined package designs can be improved for your dining experience. And yet, America has largely overlooked this, raising the question, why hasn't America followed suit with Redmond's design? Though I can't get into the minds of higher-ups, the reason America doesn't have Japanese-style sauce packets may boil down to established practices and consumer habits. So the Easy Squeeze condiment packet, what it looks like, it's kind of like if you imagine a little, like 2 trays kind of like this. It's very small.
Okay.
And then it's got like a cover on top and then like 2 little trays. And the idea is you can squeeze it together and it creates an opening. It creates an opening that just is a single place that pours out nicely. And you can,
I've seen that.
Yeah, and you can get you can do it without getting your hands all nasty, and it's just a better way to do it.
I've seen that in the context of hot dogs, and I'm like, fucking finally. Let's why have we gotten the technology to have fucking peanut butter and jelly in the same jar? And yet we're now getting to this? Where have our priorities been?
Have you ever had goober?
Goober? No, I've never had the combination. Is that what it's called, goober?
It's called goober. You didn't know that? It's called goober. The peanut butter and the jelly in the same jar. You didn't know it's called goober?
I probably have laughed at it, that it immediately left my mind. That's why I want to keep that in my mind.
I was somewhat recently on a vacation last year, and we, as classic hiking food is peanut butter and jelly. You make peanut butter and jellies, you throw them in the bag, good to go. So the most cost-effective way to do it was to get goober, because we didn't have to get a jar of peanut butter or jar of jelly. We just got the goober.
Okay.
I will say it was my first time ever having goober. First of all, very sweet, not like surprising. But the other thing is, it's nicely striped when you first open it. Like there's a stripe of peanut butter, a stripe of jelly. The moment your knife touches down into that, it's a disaster zone. It's a whole mess. You try to keep it nice and you try your best to not get them too swirled up in the jar. It just becomes this clumpy, goopy, disgusting mess.
That's the worst part about peanut butter and jelly making, is that if you don't do it properly, you get little chunks of jelly that then harden into little chewy candies for the next person.
Not good.
Or a fluffernutter, which I think is kind of a very Northeast thing. Fluffernutter, which is for people who don't know, that's like a marshmallow spread, which when you describe fluffernutter, you're like, I'm sorry, how does Massachusetts not all have diabetes? If you were just all eating like peanut butter with fluff spread, I would have this all the time.
As a kid, yeah, it was a really great treat. Yeah.
But now I also think it's not that terrible nutritionally. I think
is it like mostly sugar and air? It's like whipped sugar, right?
It's mostly sugar and air, but
meringue.
Like jam is just mostly sugar anyway.
True.
So I think it's like technically slightly less sugar. I think I did this comparison before, but then I've always wondered about those jars because they're so beautifully striped, and I'm like, that's not gonna last.
Let me tell you, like I would say, like as an economic choice, it was the right one, and I would do it again. But as a regular consumer, I don't know who's buying this, because it is a disaster waiting to happen.
It feels like it's for kids, and that's why I assumed that the flavor wouldn't be that great, because it would just like kids. It's like, okay, just put a lot of sugar in there, whatever. They don't really care.
Right. So the next section is entitled "The Convenience of Japan's Easy Squeeze Condiments." The greatest gift these international sauce packets give is their easy squeeze functionality, a welcome departure from the traditional American packets that require you to tear them open, often leading to spills. Japanese sauce packets are also engineered to give you great control over the amount of sauce you dispense. You simply squeeze the pack on both sides, releasing the contents smoothly from the middle without the need to peel back foil, and allowing you to control the stream as you go. In countries like Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, they are used to house a wide range of sauces. There's no fuss or hassle, which makes these packets just right for convenient on-the-go meals where you can't afford to make a mess. These easy-to-use designs offer a better eating experience and also help producers cut down on waste. Japanese sauce packets don't use all the extra layers of foil or plastic and reflect Sanford Redmond's belief that it is better to reduce plastic than to recycle it. If American fast food chains adopted a similar sauce container, it could make consumers happier and make eating out more eco-friendly. It's a very good point.
Love it. That's so good. That's 2 for 1, 2 birds, 1 stone. Perfect.
Right. Exactly right. So final section. What's the holdup? Why
am I not squirting this into my mouth right now?
Right now. Why am I not getting Hidden Valley Ranch squeezers on the go?
Right now, I just have my old packets, and they keep squeezing into my fucking eyeballs.
And I have to wear my mustard-colored shirt like you are right now to hide all the stains.
That's the only reason I wear this shirt, because otherwise it's fucking gross and everyone hates me for it.
Japanese sauce packets are designed for easy squeezing and mess-free control, but they require specialized machinery to make that would involve a huge shakeup of the fast foods packaging industry if widely adopted. Currently, U.S. fast food chains rely on simply designed tear-open packets, so switching would mean big changes for manufacturers. And though they'd be in the minority, some Americans don't actually mind keeping things the same, tapping into fast food nostalgia for the way things were when they were kids. Sucks. You're holding us back. this is terrible. And you interact
two terrible points that they made.
Terrible.
That is absolutely not a demographic. That is people who don't know better. There's an entire there's a hilarious, or it should be indication of how terrible things are going, where President Biden had his like leaving the office address, and he was like, "Listen, everybody, it's turning into an oligarchy. Come on, gang, what are we doing here?
Come on,
and then,
come on, like Zoink Scoop.
Come on, like Zoink Scoop." And then there's a massive uptick in people looking up oligarchy, and it's like dudes, like you just voted it up. Like, so I think this is those same people who just don't know what it is. Secondly, why is it that we are at the part of PR Newswires and the takeout.com articles where they talk about the supply economics of like,
it's money.
Hey, bitch,
it comes down to money.
Bitch, adapt their supply to survive. Like, why do I have to care about
if one place adopted this and started to do this, people would start to demand it. I think that it would just universally become adopted because people would not, they'd be like, wait, we could have been doing this the whole time. We could have not been spilling ketchup on our shirts this whole time.
But I hate the logic of like, well, we're going to have to change things to have this way better version, and it's not going to be as wasteful. And it's like, what are we talking about? Coal right now? Where everyone's like, we should still be coal mining. And I'm like, for fucking what?
For
like, what? We don't do anything with coal.
Another reason for the slow uptick in Sanford Redmond's design stateside may come down to the creator's reluctance to dabble in corporate ventures. Although he experienced major success during the 1960s with his butter packaging machine that sold his sauce packet designed to Mitsubishi in the 90s, Redmond noted in the New York Times interview in 2000 that he had massively downsized his business. Despite this, however, there continues to be growing interest in packaging that's convenient and better for the environment, so who knows? Maybe American chains will get there one day. I doubt it.
I doubt it. There are certain things that bringing up butter did make me go back to the legal seafood that I went to this last weekend, where they do give you bread and the terrible little pad of butter that's still cold. And it's still cold to spread.
No.
That butter they need to make better, because they have two different versions where it's either looks like a mint, it's just wrapped up in foil, or it has like a little plastic container that it's in that you gotta like scoop it out of, and neither one is that good.
Not good.
Like, so they need to get butter down. I don't think they have butter down.
Well, are you a butter on the counter household or a butter in the fridge household?
Both, baby.
Baby.
We used to be only in the fridge.
Yep.
That became, you have one too many times of getting nice baguette or something, and then you try to put that cold butter on.
No, it ruins the whole thing.
So now we have a distinct thing that it's like, this is spreadable butter, and then we have the like cooking butter that is usually unsalted versus
you guys have been in the future for longer than we have. We've gotten to but we do both now. But it was a pretty recent development because my fiance made bread and I went to go put some butter on the bread and I was like, this is horrible. What are we doing? And I still put some on the counter.
It is because there's so many, like, you don't think to buy a container for the butter until you need it, and then we gotta do it.
Right. You become an adult that day. That's the mark. You're living in a society where you keep the butter on the counter.
My body might have left my childhood home, but my mind has been there ever since. And now, and then you get to my mom, that it's resented.
Then you get to my mom's age, where she's looking for other butter innovations, and now she has the butter. Have you heard of the butter bell? Did you ever interact with the butter?
What the hell?
Okay, so the butter bell it's a 2-piece contraption.
Okay.
You've never seen a butter bell? You've actually never seen a butter bell? Okay, so there's like a cup, there's like a cup that's filled with water. Okay. And on the other side of it is like an inside of like something that would hold like an egg, like that concave kind of shape. And you take your butter and you put it into the concave thing to hold it. And then you take that whole thing and you put it into the water. And so the butter in its natural resting place is just in water is basically it. And so the idea is when you take it out of the water, it's kept fresh because the butter and the water don't interact. Like the fat and the water don't mix. Oh. So it's touching water.
Oh, so it's actually in the. I thought it was
actually no. It is actually soaking in. It is soaking in water. But because the fat doesn't mix with the water, it's staying clean. So then you pull it out. It's just dry butter basically, and it's nice and room temp or whatever. You scrape it off. You put it on your bed and you put it back in the water. That's like. It's like
you
a crazy
saying
thing.
That I was living in the future. That's fucking future stuff.
Well, I think that's not the future. I think that's
it's going based on the properties of fat and water. Like,
I think it's not. That's not the future. It's just living in the French world, because I think that's what the French do.
Of course, the French would do something.
The French are living in 2050 for butter technology for sure. They're way ahead of us.
I've heard French cooking just described as add more butter,
and then
butter.
It'll be what do you think a croissant is?
A croissant is mostly butter. Oh man! Now,
but you know what? I hope is not mostly butter. It's gonna be your next segment.
Oh, but butter. I have no transition from that. We're going to go into some in the news. And this comes from IGN.
Oh, okay.
This is an interesting news source.
An actual major news platform.
I'm going to say, okay, so for their IGN does like gaming. They do reviews and things like that. This is gaming. This is definitely associated with gaming, this article, but it's also associated with crime. And for whatever reason...
Game crime.
IGN, they will have the longest fucking reviews, but every single piece of genuine, like every genuine article that they have about a news source or whatever is like 2 paragraphs, and I don't understand. So I have multiple that are linked from this one article, but it's a sprawling thing. But we're going to be covering multiple articles. They're all from IGN.
I went to watch a game review one time pretty recently from IGN. It was 18 minutes long. I was like, yo, what are we doing? What are we doing, y'all?
Am I playing the game at this point? Like, you just doing a
And then I went and rewatched when Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 came out. I went and rewatched the original review for the first one. That review was 3 minutes and 40 seconds long.
Because they're like, you shoot orcs.
It's
pretty
orcs,
sick.
man. It's pretty sick. Graphics are pretty good.
Yeah, that's all. But this is Japanese crime syndicates reportedly launder money using Pokemon cards.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Because I've heard a lot about like scalpers and stuff like this, like getting their hands on Pokemon cards. This is a different angle.
So now these are a series of articles that are about Pokemon cards and crime, baby. The Pokemon trading company game has grown so valuable that Japanese crime syndicates are reportedly using it to launder money. The former head of a crime syndicate told Shinkuga Gendai Online, translated by Automaton, that his organization used Pokemon cards as a mean of transporting stolen money abroad. The cards being so small, literally the size of a regular playing card, but holding so much value allowed them to be easily bought, transported, and sold abroad, the crime leader said. Some Pokemon cards are indeed incredibly valuable. The record holder sold for more than $5 million!
Insane.
That's an insane amount of money. But even some cards in regular packs are worth hundreds of dollars or more. I don't think I think that might actually be higher than the highest Magic card that I've heard, because there was that one article that was like from way back that I did that was a Magic card bought by
Black
Post
Lotus
Malone
or something,
and that was like a couple million, but I think that was like 3 million if memory.
I remember hearing things about the isn't the most valuable Pokemon card the artist Pikachu? I can't remember.
Oh, I
thought that's what it was.
I feel like it's either that or like Charizard or something like that. The crime syndicate used well-known documented methods of finding these expensive cards too, which are usually the ones with lots of shiny foiling. Thanks to this, advanced metal detectors are able to pick up the foiling from outside the pack, or incredibly sensitive scales can pick up incremental increases in weight.
Insane.
This allows the crime syndicate to buy packs in bulk using their illegally obtained cash, open all the actual value, and then resell the remaining ones at cost.
Wow, that's insane. So they can get all the valuable cards and then sell off the rest, even though they know that they're actually inherently less. Because when you're paying for the Pokemon card pack, you're paying for the chance to roll something good. You're paying for a roll, right? But they're weighting the machine. They are rigging the slot machine so you roll poorly.
Yes,
insane.
And trying to figure out. But it's also funny because I've seen streamers and stuff who get really into like opening cards. I don't watch streams like that, but it's very interesting when you hear of the scams and things like that go into that. Of like people being like, well, it's completely sealed, but then maybe they resealed it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do they have a fucking press in their house? Like some people do, like they genuinely. But there are other criminal exploits having to do with Pokemon cards, which are linked from these articles, so that's why I'm going to get into them. So $250,000 of Pokemon merch reportedly stolen after a thief breaks through store wall.
What? Okay.
So this is a Mr. Kool-Aid man of Pokemon cards. An independent gaming store in Minnesota reportedly had around $250,000 worth of Pokemon card merchandise stolen by a thief who broke through the wall during the night. Fox 9 reporter Mary McGuire tweeted security camera footage of the alleged break-in that shows a man crawling into Punch-Out Gaming in Forest Lake. According to McGuire, who spoke with the store's owner, the thief emptied 2 full storage rooms of products that included high-value items like sealed booster cap boxes of Pokemon cards, worth upwards of $100 each.
That sucks. Independent game store getting robbed. That sucks.
Yeah. I do like their name, though. I did get very confused reading this article because I thought he crawled out of a Punch-Out machine, but it's just Punch-Out Gaming is the name of it.
You thought he actually ran into Mike Tyson.
You're not going to steal anything.
You got to go through me first.
You got to go through me. A post on the store's Facebook page shared further footage of the break-in and said, this guy broke into the neighbor's store and cut holes through a wall. He took cash and over $200K worth of product. The next door unit is reportedly empty, and thief broke into there before forcing their way into the Punch-Out Gaming. So they also stole from the place that they went through.
That's crazy. And also, this person knew the merchandise. Like, this was an informed. This is like, an art heist, but like not art. The art wasn't the product they were stealing. They knew their stuff about specifically Pokemon cards, so they could break in and steal the goods.
To buy, I think they just had an idea that these are worth money and they could be worth more. Like they can be exponentially. I think that's also just like why people get into the cards anyway, because it's like, oh, it's an investment.
Imagine that's what live streamers end up doing. They end up having to they're like, all right, guys, so tomorrow I was planning on doing an opening pack stream, but tonight you should tune in because I'm going to go rob the nearest hobby store. That's going to be my stream tonight, and then we'll be around tomorrow for opening the packs that we steal tonight.
Do you guys think that this Gengar balaclava is cool? Is that cool? And
F in the chat for this window, my guys. I'm about to break through
it. And this last one, thieves caught on camera stealing $35,000 Pokemon cards get mocked by store staff. Thieves who stole 35,000 Pokemon cards from a San Jose collectible store were caught on camera and mocked by the staff as a result. As reported by ABC 7 News, Tofu's Trading was broken into at 2 a.m. On January 24th, 2024. So a year ago, I think, by a group who were caught on camera crawling across the floor before taking the cash register and tens of thousands of cards. While the store staff were obviously upset by the theft, they also looked to find the fun in it by sharing an edited video of the break-in that pokes fun at the culprits. Quote, "We do have a sense of humor, so it is really silly to see them crawling," said Stream and
Because they thought they were ducking underneath
they
were ducking underneath the camera. It's like,
they thought they were cool. You guys are idiots. We also like to take a bad time and find a little humor in it, which I think is nice. There's not much we can do right now, so it's no point in moping over it, so might as well make people laugh. Tofu's training staff also found the thieves' lack of Pokemon card knowledge laughable, resulting in them taking thousands of cards worth next to nothing. Though they did take plenty of cards worth a few $100s each, they also missed out on a few new set full of expensive pieces released a couple of days earlier. Or a couple of days later, I should say. So they basically missed the timing window to get the newest shit. Like they're a few days early. Quote, a lot of stuff releasing this week, and we thought it was funny. We were like, oh, these people don't realize that it releases on Friday, not like on Wednesday at 2 a.m. Store manager Amy Simpson said, I don't think they were in the hobby necessarily because they don't know what to take. Pokemon cards are popular as ever, evidenced, among other things, by the number of people trying to steal them. And so there's been a lot of thefts also in Tokyo having to do with this, but you know what? I think we're going to steal our audience's heart with your next segment.
Oh, are we? Maybe.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
That's a big promise for my segment.
Bad transition, baby.
Maybe, because we are going down into the dark William.
Oh, this is not stealing my heart.
This is stealing your heart. I might steal your literal heart. Maybe replace it with something like an Eye of Newt or some creepy little doll in there that's sort of powering a little machine. There's going to be a doll riding a bicycle, and that's going to be pumping your blood around. That'll be cool, right?
Wow, is this written by Tim Burton?
It could be cool. Well, I don't know.
Why do I feel full of sawdust right now? Oh, man.
Why am I claymation? What's going on?
Why is my frame rate off?
This is weird. Well, William, this, of course, is my taxidermy shop. You come in here, you get some prices, we have a good time, you buy something on your way out, exit through the gift shop kind of deal. So every time we'll buy something, right? We'll agree? All right, good.
No. Okay.
All right, so I've got 4 items. I've got 4 frogs for you today.
Do you have any bookmarks that I can buy instead?
Maybe I can flatten one of the frogs into a bookmark.
That's not a bookmark.
Is that good?
That's a smelly bookmark. Okay? I don't like that. No.
You don't like that? Why not? Come on.
I don't want these.
Everybody likes it.
Is this the first time we've encountered frogs? I feel like we should have encountered them a lot earlier, but we get a lot of possums and foxes.
Get a lot of possums. This time we're going into the amphibious reptile sort of angle of the internet, of taxidermy internet. So here's your first one. It's entitled Cane Toad Taxidermy Oddities Reptile Frog Lizard Shark Teeth Monster.
That's not a bad. That's bad.
Why do you mean that's bad? That's good.
Oh, okay. So this feels bad. I don't like the eyes.
You could have it as a bookmark. It could mark your book. You just open your book. You put this guy in.
I'm gonna say it. So it is a frog. It looks like this frog was very cold when it died because it has a lot of bumps. Like it has goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
It's every single one of its fingers looks deformed in different lengths, and as the name implies, it has fucking sharp ass teeth, and its mouth is open.
Teeth.
This feels like somebody who is writing a fantasy novel, but is not very imaginative.
What do you mean? I've definitely never seen this enemy in a Star Wars video game. What are you talking about?
This exact enemy. And then the eyes are terrible because they're obviously fake because they're so vibrant.
They're massive and green.
And also I feel like, I don't know if that's just part of the frog, but there's one part that's discolored next to its head that kind of looks like they got a different frog, like it had a big hole in it, and they took the skin from the other frog and put it on. But I can't tell.
Well, here's the item description from me, the seller. The Bufo Marinus has a surly countenance and looks as if he isn't afraid of anything. And he probably isn't, especially not this Toothosaurus toad. He's surely got a lot of jaws. He is a perfect companion for somebody with an excess of flies or fingers. Toothosaurus's teeth are made of Moroccan fossil shark teeth. Charcharius tingitana. He's a new creation, but his impressive teeth are about 55 million years old. Donuts not included. Toothosaurus ate them all shortly after the photo shoot. I don't know what they're talking about because there's no donuts anywhere in any of the photos, but that's okay.
I like the idea that these teeth survived for millions of years or whatever, and then they end up in a taxidermy frog's mouth. That's bad into that journey.
That's not good. I don't think that shark would like that. No. But this is a big boy. This is a 6.5 inch toad. This is a
6.5 inch.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, that's a big. That I would not want on my desk. So
that's too bad because you're gonna buy it, and you're gonna tell me how much you're gonna buy it for.
For some reason, the number 85 jumped in my head. $85. I think that's way too low, though.
You would be correct. It's too low. This one is, in fact, $153. Just in case you were wondering, this is a big toad, Will. Come on.
No. But they didn't do a lot of work. There's other ones that we've had that they put him in a little dress. Ooh, that's something. Oh, they took a nice vintage doll. This is just a toad. They put sharp teeth in its mouth. It's not worth $150.
All right, next up, we got another one. Real bullfrog taxidermy Jeremiah the Innocent, Daniel Jackson. I don't know what that means, but here he is in the flesh.
I almost, oh my God. I got nauseous from laughing so hard. I've never had that happen where my body was like, "You're laughing." It seems like you should get some other stuff up with that. Holy fucking shit! This guy, he looks like, I don't know if you've ever seen Futurama. There's a Willy Wonka thing that they do where they go to the soda place that has Slurm, and the guy in charge is a Willy Wonka. That is a slug, and his eyes are fucking gigantic and coming up. He looks exactly like that because this motherfucker is a frog smiling at me, and he has two giant eye stalks that come up a full body height up, and then he has two giant blue eyes at the top of that. Oh my God.
Isn't he beautiful, Will? He's truly an artistic creation. Nature sure is beautiful.
No, that's not nature. What are you talking?
Nature sure is neat, huh, Will?
Kill me. I can see flies like a submarine, though.
Here's the item description from the seller. Listen up, and I'll tell a story about an artist growing old. As pictured in Daniel Johnston's semi-final 1983 self-produced album Hi, How Are You?, Jeremiah the Innocent is an alien frog guy adopted to signify the native optimism of DIY punk and folk musicians everywhere, from t-shirts worn by Kurt Cobain to a famous mural in Austin, Texas. Now he's being formed in 3 dimensions for your own cow-walking enjoyment. Jeremiah's greeting plaque is included about 8 inches. Check the ruler photo for reference.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Kurt Cobain myself. You know, I'm pretty on the edge here with my fucking weird ass rocks. I mean, what are they talking about? That was like what I presume other people saw English class as, where it's like the teacher talks about like, yes, the blue drapes. They signify the sadness and the despair in his heart. And you're like, I think that was just fucking blue drapes. I think you just made a fucking weird ass frog, my man.
I think you made a weird frog, my dude, and now you're trying to sell it.
Trying to sell it for way too much.
Way too much, but tell me why. Tell me how much.
I'm going to say 175. I think it's more.
Ooh, well, it's 174.
What?
Why is it
that? Why did I go up to a round number?
It's so close, Will. It's so close.
I almost got you to buy it. You would have been forced to.
174. I was saved by them not doing the multiple of 5.
That's so fucked. That's so much money.
175 is a little too extreme. But 174, and now people will buy it at that price.
It's like something 99. Trying to get up to that.
All right, we got 2 more for you, Will. Here's the next one. Taxidermy toad, cane toad, hairy frog, lizard, turtle, oddities. I don't know why the word turtle's in there because it is just a frog.
Marty, we have to go back to the future. Stop with the fake eyes. I hate these fake doll eyes. They're so vibrant and they don't look like frog eyes. They're round. They don't even look like frog eyes. They look like cat eyes. Holy, okay, this is another frog that is in the same pose as the other ones, which is frog like toad. Except this one, they have taped a bunch somebody's shag carpet on the back to make it look like white hair,
like a pom pom from an earmuff.
Yeah, it's like that white fur that goes to like brown, like it's implying that it's a fur from an Arctic fox or something like that.
Arctic fox could be real. Will could be real.
I can feel the the fake
it's
ass.
All real materials. You know, they're all really materials. What we sell here.
Oh man, and the fake blue eyes that are the most like aquamarine I've ever seen of anything.
Here's the item description from the seller. For the young Einstein fan in your life, a cane toad with crazy genius hair. Also, why do you have a young Einstein fan in your life? Seriously. Yahoo, seriously.
That's
in the description.
I was gonna joke about that exact thing. You can't lampshade that. You brought it up. An absurd thought for anyone to think that is an Einstein fan. Who would say such a thing except for me 5 seconds ago?
I'm so crazy, aren't I? This hairy toad might spend his days as a wild-haired, deaf composer. In that case, he likes to be known as Beethoven. Huh?
If I could find this person and throttle them. Put that tongue back in your mouth.
But some who have observed the hare toad in this natural setting have reported that he's a theoretical physicist, developing a theory of relativity and working on mass energy equivalence formula. So he may call himself Albert Einstein's toad. That's nothing.
That's nothing. That's so nothing.
That's nothing. Either way, he's an intelligent, gifted cane toad, about 5 inches. Check the ruler photo for reference. Okay, tell me.
Oh God! The only thing that is nice about this is that it's a cane toad, and my last name's Cane, so I feel some kind of connection.
Yeah, you feel connected here.
I'm gonna say, based on the prices of the other ones, I'm gonna say $150.
This one's $119, a relative steal.
Don't say that. Don't say that like it's something people should buy. It's not.
Yeah, no, you should buy all of these things. Okay, I have one more. We get to end on a delightful note here, Will. This one is truly a gem. Real bullfrog taxidermy, wizard frog, natterjack, D&D, Hecate toad, Odysseys. Take a look at this bad boy.
Wow,
he's my favorite boy.
Here's the thing. He does look like he's made of plastic, which does confuse me because according to this, he is a taxidermy toad. So
he is a taxidermy bullfrog, yeah.
He's exactly what you think. He's not like the other ones, though. He's upright. No. He's holding an orb in one hand.
And a staff in the other one.
He has a staff. He has the wizard hat that doesn't look like it's that good, well made. Because it looks like it's just like fabric they got from Joanne Fabrics that they put around like a bad foam little base thing. Yeah, and then he has a little cape, and he has like I do like his little robe that he has like kind of belts. He has these weird kind of like chain looking thread that's around his like elbow pads and stuff.
He does look like someone who showed up for a LARP and didn't realize that no one else was dressing up. That's how I would describe him.
He looks like he just got magical ketamine, and now he's like, what are we doing here? Because his eyes are fucking, once again, huge and blue around the edges of the eyes, which is weird.
Are you ready for the item description from the seller?
Yes, please.
Deep down, all frogs are wizards. They have a 360 field of vision.
What a fucking weird. Deep down, all frogs are wizards.
All frogs are wizards.
All birds are druids. All bears are paladins.
All rabbits are bards, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. What a fucking statement to start with.
They have a 360-degree field of vision. Some can survive in the desert, buried in suspended animation until the yearly rain. Some can magically regenerate a lost toe or limb. Some can bring forth little baby frogs bursting out of their back. And yes, some are very adept with poisons. This frog chooses to dress the part as well, with his purple robes, magical staff, and icy blue orb. If you get on his bad side, he might turn you into a human, so watch out. Real bullfrog taxidermy, about 9 inches with the stand. Check the ruler photo for reference.
See, the measurement is right. I'm not taking inches away from you.
The measurement is right.
Oh my God. This is a type of person that I feel like would say the phrase like magic is just is just science we don't know yet or something weird, and I feel like you don't know a lot then.
Well, why are you criticizing my beautiful creations?
Your creations.
My wonderful. This is my delightful boy, and you will go home with him.
I will go. I will say this is the most plasticky looking taxidermy we've seen. I cannot overstate how shiny this frog is.
He's sort of a statement piece for your console table in the middle of your apartment.
What a statement that would be.
That would be nice.
I am a Venn diagram of a person, and boy, oh boy, this is right in the center of all those things.
Yeah.
You can figure it out by just looking at this one piece of my decor, who I am as a person.
All right, name me a price, man.
$225.
Well, it's $2.29. You're so close.
Why are they doing that? They're not even doing the 95.
Why are they doing it? They're not doing multiples of 5. I don't know why.
It makes me mad. How am I supposed to guess that? It's like,
You're so
17,
close.
28. Like, what?
It's $229.00. You know, it's just flat
Classic.
$229. Classic.
Yeah,
it's a good price for anything, you know.
People go to business school to learn these secrets that you should put it on.
Where do you think Elon Musk got all of his wealth? Frogs on eBay.
He has a classic quote: "If you could scam a few extra dollars off from a person that for a taxidermy frog, you could go as far as
you can rule the world.
Your mind could take you." Yeah. Oh my god!
All right, well, that's all I've got in stock for you today. Come back, come back. We rotate our stock. We try to make it interesting for you, and so we do the best I can. So, but now you got to get out, leave.
Listen, okay, I will get out.
Fly, you fool!
I feel so much better now that I am free. I am feeling open, and I feel like my body should reflect that. I don't need any clothes anymore, Theo, because this is a quick how-to.
Oh.
I had a series of we've covered other things
You're
having to
leaving
do
me
with
in suspense
nudists.
here because you're saying you don't need clothes anymore, and you're not telling me what the how-to is.
I'm literally saying the words right now as you're interrupting me. I'm talking. We had previous segments about nudists.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I had a bunch of articles more, but then I realized that all of these how-tos are basically the same fucking how-to. So I'm going to just point out the funny parts of these how-tos, because the first one is just how to become a nudist. You know,
how to become a nudist.
Best ways.
This one seems like I could figure it out at home.
Yeah, exactly, because they say practice nudism at home. Sleep naked, spend as much time around the house naked. This is all advice that is going to carry over into the other ones, but the other ones are more specific and get a little weirder. Talk to your partner about nudism. I agree with that. Especially you don't want to, your partner might be like, that's pretty great. And then after a while, they might be like, hey, so your ass has been on a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. We got to start telling people when they come over that, this is a thing.
They say, like, locate a nudist community, find a nudist beach or resort, take a nudist holiday, things like that. Continue to be...
You go through the metal detector at the airport and you're like, actually, I'm going on a nudist holiday. I'll just leave my clothes. It's fine. You can scan everything. I don't need any of this.
But then they're like, hey, go to appropriate nudist places. And then they do this thing where they also say, continue to be naked whenever you can. Yeah. Check out your local laws regarding being topless in public, including parks, swimming pools, and at the beach. So they're like,
I think that should be step number 1.
Yeah, I feel like it feels weird to be like, hey, there's different areas, but also if you can sneak a tit out, like that would be pretty fucking sick. And also they talk about nudity is natural. It is part of life, and also nudity isn't necessarily sexual, which they also point out a lot. And that's going to come up a lot in some of the other ones because they get into how to be naked when your parents aren't home and avoid getting caught.
I love this because my parents are never at my home. So theoretically, I could just not,
This is the easiest how-to in the world because literally they're just like, hey, find out when your parents are returning home. Call your parents if they're already
Who is
gone.
This written
Take
by
your fucking
and
clothes
for?
off.
This is weird.
So it's somebody who needs a how-to article on how to take their clothes off, a thing that you learn when you're a child.
I think that you should be doing regularly to bathe yourself.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, put your clothes on before your parents come home. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, dude.
If you get caught by your parents, explain that nudity is natural. Listen, I was playing Call of Duty with my cock out, but that's part of my life.
That was for Harambe, actually. So you can't actually question me on that.
But then they go opposite of the other one where they go, stay indoors, please. Please don't go out. Like,
please don't go out. No,
close
don't go
all your
out.
blinds and curtains. Stay away from the windows. Lock your doors. Find a way to relax, though. Forget about your worries.
Pretend that someone's going to break into your house. Lock all the doors. Make sure your gun is loaded. But also find a way to relax.
They also just start enumerating things you can do while naked where they're like, take a nap. Cook yourself a meal. Do your chores.
Wait, hold on. Back up. cook yourself a meal. That sounds terrible. What are we talking about?
It's even funnier because the image that because they always have drawings with these WikiHow, and it's somebody cutting things on a cutting board. Then I'm like, your cock is literally like
it's right there. It's right there. Dude.
That would be the easiest accent. Run and jump is the funniest one to me because it's
run and jump.
I'm just imagining
practice your long jump.
The risky business Tom Cruise, like him in his underwear thing, except he's just hanging dong. He's just
I feel like
jump it, be free.
They specifically invented like compression shorts so to like compensate for this specific scenario where you need to run and jump, but you don't want everything moving around down there.
But here's the thing: how about you throw on some accessories? Maybe make a silly outfit using hats, ties, leg warmers, jewelry, and other non-clothing items, or slip on your parents. Slip on a pair of your parents' shoes with nothing else to stomp around the house in style. Why does it need to be your parents' shoes? I also fucking love the image that they have with it because it looks like a guy on his first day at Chippendales. Like he's a dude. Like he's a guy where you can only see like the bottom of his chest up, and he's putting on a bow tie. Like
hello, so ladies.
He's so fucking happy about it.
He looks like he's gonna start the male equivalent for Hooters. That's what he's going to go do.
That's what Chippendales is.
Oh, it is it?
Yeah. Where they have bow ties and stuff, and they have like thongs and stuff. There's like a very famous SNL skit where Chris Farley is trying to be a Chippendales dancer. He does this dance. It's so funny. But this goes on to how to practice nudism in your room with no one knowing. Which, and once again, why does this need to be how to? I'm not going into any of these in depth because the funniest part of this is come up with a good excuse.
You sit there naked, trying to relax, but also trying to scramble for an excuse in case somebody finds out.
In case somebody wants to come. You could say that you've got a tough school assignment to work on and you need to focus.
That's actually not an excuse.
No. You might explain that you had a rough day and want some time alone and also no clothes on. But they say the same thing. Close your door, keep your clothes nearby.
They didn't provide any good excuses.
No.
Like, just off the top of my head, I could say like you were preparing to take a bath and you were grabbing something from the kitchen. That's why you're naked in the kitchen. Like that's at least plausible.
Yes.
You were like, I was going to get in the bath, but I realized that I wanted a snack. And you're like, okay, still weird, but not that weird.
Speaking of weird and kind of indefensible, what to know about practicing naturism with your children is another how-to. Notably, I noticed this, every other how-to article says how to be a nudist. This says how to practice naturism with your children, which is just nudism.
That's rebranding.
That is rebrand. They are specifically, because I think they know. I have talked to somebody who formerly was a nudist, like somebody that I was friends with, that I didn't know that they're into it, and then they like brought it up. I'm like, oh, interesting. And then they're like, I stopped because I had kids, and I'm like, that feels right.
That makes
honestly,
a lot of sense.
Because this is the most. I'm not even going to go into major parts of this article because it makes me uncomfortable. Even though they're like, hey, the first thing is explain to your child that nudity is natural and not about sex. But also, I'm going to do this thing where I have my own ideas about nudity and stuff.
Naturism sounds like they're trying to they're trying to rebrand it in a very weird, in a very strange way.
But they specifically say avoid expressing your sexuality when you're in a family setting. Like when you have your cock out, make sure you don't put your hand on your partner's thigh.
That shouldn't have to be said.
Yeah, but then they have the images for this are so fucking weird. I'm gonna show you one that isn't bad, but it's weird.
Dad, no, Dad. In this picture, there's a boy and he's got a spoon in his hand and he's getting something from a bowl, like soup or something. And his dad is in the background and you can just see his dad from the waist up and he's wearing an apron and he's stirring a frying pan. And his dad is just he's got a very Mona Lisa smile looking at his son.
Oh, yes, my nude son.
Yes, my boy eats soup in the nude and this makes me a proud papa.
And then it gets into like all the problems, like 2/3, it gets into all the problems, which the other ones don't get into, where it's like, be hygienic, let people decide what's comfortable to them, which, that should be the first thing you do. Respect boundaries. If they set boundaries that they don't want to be nude, set rules, then it goes into like how to teach your children about like how there's different body types. And I'm like, this is too much for a WikiHow. What are you doing?
This is too much for a 3-year-old and too much for a WikiHow.
Yeah. But we're going to end with one that is how to be naked more often around family members at home. I think this could be answered
leave me out of it. Leave me out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Why do I need to enjoy nudity without offending your family? So if they say, hey, I don't want you to do that, respect them. Let your family know when you're naked. And the image for this is so
I'm naked.
It is literally a woman, and the speech bubbler is just her with her clothes on the ground.
I'm
naked. Start wearing fewer clothes to ease your family into the idea. This feels uncomfortable, but at least I can joke about this. You know, like you're just like, is this too? Can I wear a tube top?
Can I wear this?
What
if every time I walked into a room over the course of an afternoon, I was just wearing one less article of clothing? At some point you'd notice, and it was when the pants come off.
Yeah,
that's when you'd notice.
The moment I see midriff, I'm going to be like, why?
That's not acceptable.
But then they have like, stick to a schedule so your family can expect your nakedness. Like it's basically like built, like heavy march almost. Yeah. We're going to make them more comfortable. Make about your choice to go naked. So kind of lampshade it and find whatever opportunities you can, you know, like when people aren't home, when your parents aren't clothed, make your room a no clothes zone, which I'm not sure if that's a good idea. If you have a sign on your door,
no shirt, no shoes, no pants, no underwear. That's my room. That's my room policy.
And then, they say like practice nudism outside if your family gives permission, and also work out an agreement on being naked. And the image for it is so serious and funny to me.
It's like a legal contract. It's someone holding hands with two women holding hands. It's like there's
intense eye contact,
God,
having
intense eye contact.
Like they're saying, I'm so sorry that your husband died.
I'll be here for you. Whatever you need, I'll be here for you.
When really they're saying, listen, you're going to be seeing a lot more of my labia. You're going to see a lot more of my tits. And I hope
understand I'm a shitty roommate, but it's about to get a lot worse for you.
But that leads us to the end of all these nudism articles. I'm glad I could get through a lot of content. Honestly, just put it off my list. Thank you, everybody, for making it to the end of this podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed it, give us star ratings, give us reviews on your podcast network of choice, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, etc., etc. If you have any emails to send to us, whether that's articles or whatever, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up YouTube for full episodes, and hit up my YouTube, Golly G. Willikers, for full game reviews, video movie reviews, and also like talk about history stuff. If you like this podcast, honestly, you would probably like.
You'll probably go like the YouTubes.
And we have a big thank you to somebody in particular.
That thank you is to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music. And she has wonderful music you can find on your music streaming platform of choice, such as Spotify, Apple Music, etc., etc. And some say that each time you see her, she's wearing one more article of clothing.
Oh.
So every time she walks in a room, what you put on another sweater? You cold again, Rachel?
Rachel,
says yes.
Do you have 5 scarves on? What are you, Johnny Depp?
What's with so many hats, Rachel? That's what the people really want to know.
That's literally a hat on a hat. Why are you doing that?
It's a hat on a hat. She's got a philosophy, though, so.
And now we're going to go to the last segment of the day, iwaspoisoned.com.
Oh, God.
And I got to say, this is a cut and dry case of what happened. This is one of the shorter ones we're going to cover, but I feel like it explains itself, and I don't know why this person is surprised. But this is from Finn's Beach Club in Bali, Indonesia. I had sushi and pizza. Drank beer there, and the next morning, my friend and I had diarrhea. Please be cautious if you decide to eat here. If I had that night, I would have diarrhea too, my friend. That's called eating pizza and sushi.
That's in the same night. Beer. Please tell me they did not attach a photo. Leave that one out.
But it's of the food, and the food does look pretty good.
Thank God.
The pizza is what looks like ham and mushroom dough, and I feel like that's another thing. Hey, and it's also kind of
a red flag.
They also, first time I'm seeing this at a restaurant, honestly, where they gave them an entire bucket of iced beer, where it has like 7 or 8 beers. Yeah, but I don't see that between you and a friend though. I feel like that's a lot. That's like man.
Indonesia. You're just there to hang.
If you're on vacation.
You know what they say in Indonesia, when you hear your family.
Is that what they say? That what they say? But that just feels like me going to a place and being like, give me a scorpion bowl. For myself, thank you.
For myself. And I'm going to feel sick, and I will write you up for it.
And then I'm going to go to iosvoicezone.com, and then we're going to end up on this segment, and then we end up very meta, where I talk about my own. And now we're talking about the end segment at the end of the podcast, and I'm talking about the end of the podcast while it's ready to end, and now we're going to end it right now.